So at this point, you guys probably already watched through a lot of different reviews on the GMMK Pro. And there's no need for me to go through all those technical details and stuff like that. In this video, I'm just going to share with you my personal experience by building this glorious GMMK Pro barebone keyboard. So let's get into it. Previously, when I started this keyboard hobby thing, this kind of custom built keyboards are usually exclusive to group buys, which means if you want to get a different sort of this kind of unique layout or a barebone kit, you have to join a group buy. But Glorious is probably the first company that trying to change this. They are the first one to release a mass-produced, keep this in mind, a mass-produced kit for everyone to purchase and then build their own keyboard. I know China now has a lot of options out there, but today we're just not going to talk about it and just focus on the GMMK Pro here. Now you will get a lot of the jargons and stuff like that. For the price of 739 ringgit, you will get yourself with a 75% fully CNC aluminium chassis with a rotary encoder and gasket mounted design and RGB LED, all sort of things like that. And some beginners might question hey, paying 739 ringgit Malaysia, I'm expecting this keyboard to be able to fly or something. And for some of them, beginners, they might surprise the fact that this keyboard kit doesn't even come with the switches nor the keycaps. And yeah, that's a normal reaction. Doesn't matter. I personally went with the Gateron yellow switches, and the keycaps I use here is the one I took from the First Player Lang MK980 keyboard. This keycap has a very unique MDA profile, even though it is not as high as as tall as the SA profile, but I like how the typing feel of it. And throughout the build process, the keyboard is very easily disassembled, because when you got this keyboard out of the box, you actually need to disassemble it if you want to make any sort of tuning to that. And I would suggest you to do that, because the stabilizers on this one, what Glorious is calling it as GOAT stabilizers. I have no idea why they want to call it as GOAT stabilizers.
Greatest of all time.
I know it is, but I know it's greatest of all time, but the ironic part is that because they actually factory loop the stabilizers, and they are not doing a good job there, because they actually over loop the stabilizers to a point that it becomes sticky. So 100% for sure, when you got this keyboard, the first thing you need to do is disassemble it, clean the stabilizers, and then relube it. And I really like how this piece of keyboard actually allows you to take it apart, and then they have all sort of components ready for you. They have two foam paddings inside there, one underneath the PCB and another one in between the aluminum plate as well as the PCB. They pretty much cover the sound dampening part for you already. Unless you want to change the sound profile, you can even order a different type of plate. For example, a carbon fiber or even plastic sort of plates for that. Brass plates if you want. One thing I don't really like is the fact that the screws they are using here looks kind of low quality. Yeah, for the price I'm paying, I expect it to be some sort of even higher quality ones. Like the Keychron Q1, they actually provided a very high quality and good looking screws for that. I know this is nitpicking, but for the price I'm paying, most of the time, this kind of custom keyboards, even screws, matters when it comes to the aesthetics built like this. And most of the weight of this keyboard actually comes from the bottom piece of this chassis. So when you disassemble it, the top part of this case comes off and gasket mounted, and in the box you also get additional gasket. But for me, the gasket mount doesn't seem like doing a lot of the dampening of the typing feel. Yes, it is slightly softer, but for me, this kind of gasket mount is more towards the stiff type of the typing feel. The RGB is very nicely laid out for them because the switch is actually south facing. So if you're a type of person who like to see the underglow kind of a feeling, this is probably the one for you, as they're also using the silver plate for that. So the light distribution is nice, and the side bar here we have RGB as well. You can also configure the RGB for the either you want to turn it on for the keycap zone or just the sidebar. And you can also use it as an indicator for caps lock, but frankly speaking, it is more like a gimmick for me. As for the software part, you have a lot of options for you to customize the keyboard. You can use the Glorious Core software, or you can use QMK or VIA and do all sort of customization and then flashing the firmware and things like that. Frankly speaking, I think this is a very good starting point for the custom keyboard community, as more and more of these brands started to join this bandwagon. For example, now Keychron is in the game now, Echo soon, and pretty sure the other brands will also release another 75% with rotary encoder like this. Yeah, that means the keyboard enthusiast has more options and choices they can get in the market, and building their dream keyboard is no longer a very expensive hobby, unlike back in the past few years. So that's all I want to share with you about my experience on building the Glorious GMMK Pro. Definitely the stabilizers, they can do a better job on that. And if you're getting this one, I hope you enjoy the building process, because modding, tuning takes up quite a big chunk of your time. And I hope you really enjoy that process after building it and enjoy typing on it. So yeah, if you wonder how does this keyboard typing sound is, you can say after this. So that's all. I'll see you guys in the next video.